So I've been with Cloudbrink for about 2 years now, and just to give you a little bit of backbone, and I'm going to echo something that Bino said as well, is I have a tendency sometimes to get very animated and very excited about the product that I'm talking about, and so if I get going a little too fast, please go ahead and stop me. But just to kind of emphasize a point here, just to give you a little bit of background on myself, is so I have built my entire career around working with remote access solutions. I started working with VPN technology back in the mid 90s, and I've been working with it ever since. And I've kind of seen the evolution of the products and the technologies in the industry over the years, and kind of how major events like COVID kind of changed the landscape. And so Cloudbrink is offering and delivering a very exciting solution in the way that they handle remote access. And so I've really enjoyed working for them for the last 2 years, and I'm happy to share with you with what we do. So let me advance the slide here. So to start off with, most of us working today, are working in some type of hybrid environment, so for students and educators and things like that, whether it be working from a home office or students working in remote areas from dorms and apartments and things like that. So we're working in these remote scenarios, and really what we're wanting is that more like in office, in classroom type experience. And so most of us working in these remote hybrid situations, we're suffering around 1 to 2% of packet loss on average on our consumer grade internet connections. And what that generally can lead to, like it said here, is we get higher delays, weak signals, network loss, congestion on the line. And really what that ends up being is we end up having this poor user experience. And so sometimes, if we're on a UCAS call, we have a problem with our audio or our video, or if we're doing a big file download, or we're uploading or streaming audio or video, we experience delay in that connectivity, and basically it just lends to an overall poor experience for us sometimes. And so here at Cloudbrink, what we're aiming to do is to address those issues that we see today working in those hybrid remote environments. And most of those issues occur somewhere in the last mile. And basically what that means is that from the ISP to the endpoint, your device that you're sitting on, connecting to whatever it is you're accessing to do your work or your classwork, or anything along the lines of that. So here at Cloudbrink, what we do is we're designing and creating a better quality of experience, a better user experience for those users. We have three major pillars that we focus on. We focus on performance, security, and then visibility for your administrators. And so I'll focus primarily on performance right now to kind of talk about how we do that and how we improve it. And so I talked about that loss that we experience, that 1 to 2% of loss on average that we see. And again, that's just an average. Sometimes we are in maybe the 5 to 10% range of loss. And as loss scales up, we just start to see this drastic downturn in performance, again, which lends to that poor quality experience. And so one of the couple ways that we handle the performance side of the house is we have an edge network that we have deployed across all cloud providers. So we are completely cloud agnostic. And so those edges, we can get physically closer to where user sits. Generally, we can get an edge anywhere from 5 to 20 milliseconds away for about 80% of the population of the world. But once we're connected into that edge network, this is where the real magic occurs. And what we do is we create an overlay network that gets applied to the connection. And in that overlay, we're doing things like packet piggybacking, packet deduplication, forward error correction. We're doing some caching at the local edge, modification of the Windows file size. We're doing close to 70 different checks and optimizations in that overlay. And this is our patented technology. And what that overlay is designed to do is to reduce loss. And so when we can take an existing connection and clean that connection up by reducing that packet loss, latency, jitter, wireless interference, we can reduce that loss down to zero or as close to zero as possible. We start to see a massive uptick in performance. So now we're starting to see our applications work the way that they should. We're getting much smoother audio and video. We're getting more reliability in the connection. And sometimes we can deliver upwards to a 30x increase in performance on faster transfers with data and things like that. And so that overlay network, again, is designed to reduce loss and give a better overall quality of experience for the users using the solution. In addition to that, we do have some mid-mile optimizations that we're doing as well. Because of that relationship that we have with the cloud providers, we're able to piggyback essentially on those HOV lanes of the internet that we like to refer to them as. And generally, those circuits are designed for their customers, their traffic, which are generally not publicly accessible. And we're able to actually traverse those fiber lines to give more optimization and improvement in the mid-mile as well. And so that's how we handle and address the performance side of the house. Like I said, our relationship with the cloud providers and us being cloud agnostic, we have basically our edges reside in AWS, Azure, and GCP. We've also partnered with several tier 2 and tier 3 providers in areas of the world to basically expand and increase that cloud coverage. And the mindset is that as cloud technology expands and as more local zones and availability zones and things like that become available, we can immediately deploy edges in those locations, which just greatly increases our reach. And again, that mindset of bringing the edge closer to the user and reducing that round trip time to the edge. Again, and whenever we can deliver a more high performance solution, again, it generally lends towards an overall increased user experience because you're not experiencing loss and things like that, and you're getting applications and everything delivered to you much faster. In addition to that, though, the way that we address security as well is very important. And so first and foremost, we are 100% software-based solution, and we are a zero trust provider. So most of us are familiar with the terminology VPN, but now in today's world, we're starting to see this new technology emerge, which is this zero trust network or zero trust network access solutions. And really when we talk about zero trust, it's been this industry shift towards what it means to trust a user and trust the device when accessing the resources that we've allowed them access to. And so old school technology, we used to tunnel everything, and the mindset was we allowed everything. Everything was tunneled down to the data center essentially, and we had these very open policies. With a zero trust solution, the mindset is we've switched, basically done a 180, and now by default we deny everything, and we're only allowing access to the applications and resources that we deem necessary for individuals and groups of users and things like that. And so first and foremost, we have the full integration with SAML2 providers to provide that multi-factor authentication on the front end. Again, zero trust, we want to make sure that we trust the user. In addition to that, we have a fully fledged host checker device posture assessment tool that's built into the solution to where you can build policy to basically check and validate devices so that we make sure we trust the device as well. So zero trust, let's make sure we trust the user, trust the device that they're using before we even allow them access to the resources that are sitting essentially behind our firewalls and our gateways and everything like that. And from our perspective, we don't care what the application or resource is, and we don't care where it resides. Whether it's a SaaS application sitting up in one of the cloud providers, whether it's data and applications that sit in a VPC, or it's applications and resources that sit behind a firewall in a data center. We don't care where they reside. We'll provide you a way to get to all of those applications and resources through one connection. And from the user's perspective, when they're logged in with the agent and they look at their applications tab, all they see is the list of applications and resources that they have access to, and they have no knowledge necessarily of where they reside. That maybe some of them are in AWS, and some of them are in a VPC, and some of them are in a private data center. The mindset is we don't care where they sit. We'll provide a way to connect to it. In addition to that, on the security side, some kind of key differentiators on how we handle that is first and foremost is we're doing a mutually authenticated TLS 1.3 at the transport layer. So we're taking advantage of the latest encryption standards and benefits that come with TLS 1.3. But in addition to that is the way that we handle key distribution. And so when we think of traditional remote access solutions, we generally have some type of digital certificate that's applied to the solution. Those certificates are generally generated by our certificate authorities. They're valid for usually for a year to 3 years on the high end. They get applied to the solution, and every device that connects in utilizes that digital certificate. If we've paid attention and we've seen what's happened, especially in the last 3 to 5 years in the market, with now remote access solutions being very high profile, high visibility, critical infrastructure for for corporations and institutions and education and things like that, those digital certs have actually become a target for threat actors. And so what we've done is we've taken the burden of those keys, those certificates off of the customer, the users, and we maintain and manage our own PKI infrastructure within our solution. And what we do is we assign a unique certificate for every single device that connects in, and we refresh that certificate every 8 hours. So when you're comparing that to traditional solutions where you've got one cert for all devices for a year or more, we're assigning a unique cert for every device, and we're changing it 3 times a day. And so really what that does is we refer to this as our automated moving threat defense. And because what we're doing is we're reducing the threat surface, but we're also moving the threat surface. And so by changing the certs every 8 hours. And so we've taken a very different approach on the way that we handle the security and the key distribution side of a solution to make sure that we have a very highly secure solution for our users accessing the resources. And so really what this is all designed to do is to give very high performance, very secure access for all the applications and resources that are sitting behind wherever they are, private clouds, VPCs, data centers, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, Matt, we've got a few minutes left. If you could really focus like here on the educational applications of this technology and how the people actually use that in this specific vertical market.
Yep, I'm actually got those on the next couple of slides. Yep. So really the way that we're kind of focusing on it is if we think of in the education space, if we think of educators working remote, or if we think of students accessing data and resources, the things that matter to us most are, getting access to lectures and classrooms and being on video conferencing tools to share content and everything like that, being able to retrieve the data that we need to in a very quick time frame. And so again, the mindset is that we're trying to change the quality of experience for the user or the student or the educator, whoever it is that's accessing all of these resources in wherever they're residing. And again, so the mindset is taking care of those direct needs that we have and making things like, virtual classrooms more accessible, parent-teacher conference meetings being able to, if we're doing them through remote, if we're in a low bandwidth situation where we can deliver a high quality video and audio experience, and then keeping that communication private and secure, delivering that in-classroom experience for remote learners with those consistent video and interactive applications, increasing the data storage and the transfer speeds that we have as we're sharing data back and forth. And then, AI and machine learning driven analytics that we can use to help performance analytics and predictive modeling for academic success and things like that. Those are overall the mindset on how we can improve that experience for the people in those situations. In conclusion, to kind of sum up everything that we've kind of talked about, and again, I know this was a ton of information in a very short amount of time. But again, we have when we're thinking of the things that we're addressing and the way that we're handling the certain things is we're increasing the performance through bringing our edges closer to where our users are sitting, applying that overlay network to increase the performance and reducing loss down to zero, to giving better connectivity for like students and teachers and things like that, delivering that in-classroom-like experience for remote students with an on-campus experience, providing that zero trust security for the solution to make sure that our data is secure, and that we're able to keep a very highly secure environment, and then an overall secure and high performant environment for our students and educators. And in addition to that, and then the last piece that I had talked about before was the visibility. Is obviously when we have a solution like this, we want to make sure that we have a proper way for maintaining and supporting it. And so for the staff at these institutions that are maintaining in these solutions, giving them maximum visibility into the user base so that they can see where they're coming from, what they're accessing, and having a centralized way for them to manage and have visibility of that solution. And so in a very, like I said, in a very short amount of time, that is Cloudbrink, and that is the way that we are addressing the needs of today of the remote workforce, and handling it and doing it in a very secure way.